seals in the county that pay less than us. They never are.
There are.
Morris County.
You gotta pick on somebody when they're down.
This conference will now be recorded.
We'll begin with the flag salute. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We welcome everyone to the August 31st County Commission meeting. It's a May Day meeting, so we will first start with public comments. We have Linda here.
Yes.
If you'd like to come up to the microphone, please.
Right there?
Yeah.
Do I have to stand?
You can sit
Oh,
on
yeah.
the
Okay.
side.
My name is Linda Judd. I live at 57 Lakeshore Drive. I am here to oppose the short-term permit requested by 58 Lakeshore Drive and becoming a short-term rental property or an Airbnb as such. I object to the conditional use as it invades my personal property and directly. I've listed in this agenda, or this letter, that a regulation states that it's there to be a single family dwelling. All other uses, including commercial and industrial uses, require a conditional permit, which I'm opposed to. On the second page, I'm going to go to August 4th. I requested from the Marion County Board of Directors a denial of this conditional use. I also requested that if they decided to go with the Airbnb, that a privacy fence be erected at the cost of the owner of the Airbnb. On the 25th, the directors suggested that the two owners of 58 and 57 Lakeshore Drive come up with their own solution. The house at 58 Lakeshore Drive sits 40 feet from my house, 25 feet from the deck of my house. I've got pictures. I did not bring them this morning. I apologize. If you accept that I can come back to the next meeting, I will be glad to bring them. I fear the noise levels will be high, trash will be left behind and end up on my property, and my property might be damaged by the occupants / renters. The above permit granted will change the Marion County Lake community from an owner-occupied residence to a short-term rental, non-owner occupied area. It will draw transient occupants, therefore allowing more potential police patrol and possible fire department needs, which is not being covered right now or in need right now. The cost to Marion County will go up. I urge you to oppose the house at 58 Lakeshore Drive from becoming this short-term rental property. Thank you.
Linda?
Yes, sir.
Do you own 57?
Mhm.
Is that the old Hamlin property?
Yes, it is.
And you've owned that probably?
For a year.
About a year. So
Mhm.
a year ago, you come in and purchased that property from the Hamlins, I suppose?
I
don't know.
I did on the 29th of August last year.
And so you had an outlook then of everything was, at that time, what was your outlook? when you bought the
My
property?
outlook was that the owners of 58 were a residential persons, and I was a residential person, and the lake was deemed residential property. I do understand there is an Airbnb on the lake or someplace in the lake area. I know it sets back off the road. I know it's isolated, and it doesn't cause a lot of commotion. My fear is that the location of this house at 58 is so close to my house that I will be denied my privacy. And my privacy is why I moved out there.
Okay. Next question, have you talked to the owners directly to the west of 58, John and
Yes,
I can't-
Gracie.
Tracy.
Grace.
Gracie, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You have, I haven't talked to them yet. I'd like to know how they feel about it. I mean, they've been there for about 15 years or so. Or
Yeah, they actually were at the first meeting on August 4th.
Were they?
But they didn't speak up.
Okay,
Their son was there with them.
all right. Thank you. I'm done. Anybody else have any
And,
questions?
well, you said the Marion County Lake Board, it was the Marion County Zoning Department who had the meetings, not the Lake Board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was
The
just.
zoning, okay,
Planning commission had
Planning
the
and zoning, yes.
I'm sorry.
That's
all
fine,
right.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
just for the public record,
Okay. I,
it was a zoning committee who,
okay, that I was speaking to at
Yes.
the monthly meetings.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I
they do
appreciate
the
that.
whole county, so.
Okay, okay. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Mhm.
And you did have a chance to state your comments at the planning and zoning?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
At the second meeting, there were no public comments
Right.
offered, and that's when this letter transpired.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, you did have a little dialogue at the meeting.
I did privately with Matt
Yeah, I mean, it was kind
Meyerhoff.
of part of the meeting. The committee suggested they talk to each other and try to settle the fence issue.
All
So I'm
right.
hoping there won't be a need for a fence, but I'm
Okay.
crossing my fingers or my
Well, thank you
toes.
for coming and speaking your piece.
Okay, thank you. I guess I don't need to take that. I got one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I move to, we recess an executive session in order to discuss applications for emergency management director pursuant to KSA 75-4319E. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with the commission, Tina, and the candidate for 20 minutes, 9:07 to 9:27. Second by Jonah, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We'll be back at 9:27. Okay, we're out of executive session, no decisions made. I move that we recess.
This
an
conference
executive-
will now be recorded.
We're on.
You've been on.
Okay, I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss interview of emergency management director pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with the commission, team, and the candidate. And I'm gonna make it for 10 minutes from 9:28 to 9:38. Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. We will be back at 9:38.
10 minutes?
Yes. This time we'll be.
Yeah, she's on the. Ready for me? Okay.
We need to come out of executive. You're fine. You can sit down.
This conference will now be recorded.
We are out of executive session, no decisions made. We'll move forward to Marcy.
Okay, I'll make it quick. First thing I have is the Central Kansas Community Foundation. We had our conference on Saturday. I did receive the money that they got us for the grant, so we can start purchasing wheelchairs. The other thing that the county won a raffle, and so this is an emergency, it's just a small emergency car kit. We're going to be giving that away at the health fair. So
Excellent.
people can put their name in to grab that. So that's the first one. The second thing that I had, which was the weather radio stuff in their packets.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I've got extras in case you didn't see it. One of the requests I would like to make is emergency management normally gets weather radios for citizens within the county. Our focus previously has been to hand those out at events for the secondary schools, homecoming, proms, things like that. In this day and age, and I know you guys know this because you know teenagers, most of them have cell phones, and they can use our mass notification system, which is Everbridge.
Yep.
Most of them prefer that method to get storm warnings and things like that. However, whether there is quite a few of our elderly population that either still have flip phones or I believe the quote I received was, "I hate using those things." So I would like to look at changing our focus from the 13 to 18 population and looking at the 65 and older population for the weather radios. And that's what that change in that focus is about. So, and I wanted your guys' thoughts, ideas, suggestions. And then what we would do instead of giving them out at those high school events, they would be giving out at the senior centers. And then that way, a lot of times, you know, there's even accessories on some of these that they can buy to, if they are deaf and hard of hearing, or if we have anybody with any type of disability or anything like that. So on the upside, FEMA is focusing on what they call underserved populations, and our 65 and older rural Marion County fits that bill. So that'll help us with some grants. So
I think that's a great idea. That's a good target audience.
Commission Chair?
Yes.
Due to the comment made before the meeting, I think that fits us 4 dinosaurs.
3 dinosaurs right here.
no. You
Oh,
guys
she's
use
not
cell
gonna fall
phone.
into that one.
No.
Yeah, but I'm not a dinosaur.
Yep, yes you do, and it's not a flip phone.
But I didn't
so.
bring mine today because I left mine at home.
But it's
You don't wanna be bothered, huh?
No.
it's a very good target, and there are a lot of people that are, you know, alone, isolated, and that'd be very good.
I think that's a great
Okay.
plan.
Yeah, cell phone coverage sometimes isn't the greatest of supports, so this radio works fine.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, when I was doing research on this, I do have 2 teenagers, so I was asking some at some different events, okay, so do you prefer AM, FM, or things like that? And I had to answer the question more what AM, FM meant.
Yeah.
What is that?
So,
Yeah, what's that?
I that's what kind of got me started on, we need to change that focus.
Just Spotify, or whatever the other one is.
Pandora,
Yep.
Spotify.
Pandora, yeah.
But in the
and
same
maybe
token
once-
though,
yeah.
what you're talking about Everbridge, I don't get on that. I mean, I just listen for Channel 12 to pop in on channel, you know, look for their radar.
Well, you can download their apps.
Yeah, see, so also there's some of us don't even get to Everbridge even, that using, even though we got the phone that'll do it.
Well, and we're in the process of kind of beefing up that, under the Homeland Security Grant, we are part of the South Central Homeland Security, and Everbridge is being paid for now by Homeland. And so they beefed it up. I'm working with Dispatch right now, and it's, I know, another project, but I'm working with Dispatch right now to not only beef up what we do in the county, but then also we can kind of focus this even to cities. So like, for example, if commission has their own group of people that they want to contact, so, or the county clerk has her own group of people that she wants to contact for courthouse is shut down, especially with some of the different disasters and different scenarios that may happen here. There's already groups set up on Everbridge. She has administrative rights to that group, and boom, she can send out a message like that to everybody's cell phone that's in that group. And we can manually put those people in. They don't have to sign up. So that's something else that we're looking at doing. Right now, I'm only to the second level on those classes on how to do that. There's actually 5 levels, so I'm only on the second. But yes, we are, that's kind of a, maybe a year or 2 out, but we're hoping. that
Yeah,
that happens
it's
too.
a goal, and that's a good goal.
Exactly, so that would be cool if we could do that.
No problem.
Now, do you have a preference on which one?
Whatever you
I mean, I think you have a better finger on the
Okay.
pulse than we do.
Okay,
Your recommendation.
all right.
What's easiest to operate?
And that's what I was looking for, and not only
Less-
that,
less
but,
buttons.
They
Um,
typically take it with them, or is this something that they would sit in the car or at the house with? Yeah,
Probably.
you know?
there's 2 different types on here. The one that was on the front page is actually, you can put it into an outlet or it runs on batteries when electricity goes out. There is also portable ones in there too. The portable ones start getting a lot of real fancy. This one I was gonna stay away from because they don't need a charger. A lot of times their phones are not, actually, you have to have a newer phone in order for it to charge on that device. But there are some that are portable, and then there's some that are not.
So you plan on getting a mixed batch then?
I was hoping I'd get a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, mainly because you're going to have that mix in that population as well. So I'm not talking thousands of weather radios here, but just have kind of a mix, like maybe, 10 or 20 of these, 10 or 20 of these, kind of gauge how my target market, which one they like the best, to see, okay, then I will repurchase in this area or repurchase in this one. But then I have a basis on why I'm repurchasing this one versus this one. And right now I don't know.
Yep.
So.
Very good. Good. All right, sounds like a great plan.
All right, down to my next one. Okay. The big one, or the one that I am most excited about, is September is, as you know, it is National Preparedness Month. You may have already seen the governor's proclamation on that, but I was wondering if the county commission would be willing to do a proclamation for Marion County.
Yes.
And I believe Tina put that in your pockets as well. And then I have information here on what does that mean for us. This is a calendar and an information sheet that I will send out to every group that I have in Outlook. This goes out throughout the entire county. No, I was still finishing it up.
No, the proclamation, I must have grabbed something else to put in the packet that I didn't need. So the proclamation didn't get in there. Thank you. I have it. It was.
What you'll see is the first thing is a calendar that we send out to everybody in the county, both businesses, community members, schools, everybody. It'll go out to department heads, everything like that. So this talks about going along with the national focus of each of the weeks. There's also questions to ask your family, your business, yourself during those weeks. There's also activities and suggestions. I have links that they can go to for more information. Your information page actually contains, not only that, but because I send it to schools, I also put on there information where they can go on the different Facebook pages, and we have those posts set up. They'll be done in coordination with both myself and the health department. Erin Heine is doing those Facebook posts as well. So we'll be posting different preparedness activities throughout the month of September. And then there's also some extra websites, because a lot of this information comes from national sources like ready.gov and the National Weather Service and the Red Cross, American Red Cross, and things like that. And then if some schools or other organizations want to participate in social media, putting things on Instagram or Facebook, I even put a link where they can go out and get some free graphics to do that. So there is information like that that will go out to everybody for the month of September. And do any of you have any questions or wondering about anything about National Preparedness Month?
I really like the calendar. That's great. We have something for every day, something to think about, something to look at, something to bring awareness to. Excellent.
That's going to schools and all the teachers.
Oh, it's going to everybody I can think of.
Okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say that.
So please don't hit delete when you see an email from RC for September. And actually, I'm hoping that it will go out later today. If it is something you decide to sign the proclamation, I'm going to put the proclamation with it and then include this information materials.
Well, let's get that one out on the list right away. I move that we declare the proclamation declaring that September National Preparedness Month for Marion County. Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Excellent.
Okay, fantastic.
Sign that, please, and pass it down.
Got our prepper kids put together.
Well, and that's the other thing when talking with the teenagers that I found, Because I'm taking their weather radio focus away from the teenagers, I wanted to have something else that maybe I can look at that 13 to 18-year-old group. And right now, work on the wheelchairs and the weather radios, but then after that, I'd like to work on looking at getting kits for them. Because when asking the question, a lot of them didn't even have a kit in their car in case it breaks down. So, which, you know, mind you, I'm a nerd, so I have a kit for everything. But it shocked me that you don't even have jumper cables in your vehicle? Well, no.
Yeah.
So,
They're in the garage, you know.
yeah, that was very informative talking with them. So I would like to maybe change the focus to the teenagers in getting them, because there's a ton of kids out there, and getting them different kits. I'm not talking about, you know, a zombie apocalypse kit. I'm talking car kit or a first aid kit.
Yes.
So something like that. But anyway.
Excellent plan.
I think it's kind of interesting because I was in a firearms store not very long ago, and they had a whole wall of prep kits, and they all were each one in a 5-gallon bucket.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
I didn't ask what all it is in, but it had a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff in 5-gallon buckets.
Yep.
Oh, yes, you can.
And you can use the bucket.
Yeah, $50.
Very good, Marcy. Real appreciate it.
Okay, any
Excellent.
other questions? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you, Tina.
Don't ask what's in the bucket. Don't.
Go ahead, I'm gonna take a quick break, do some of the medicine I'm on.
Okay. You see my buckets? Leave them be.
What would you like to do? Do you want to
No. You see my buckets? Leave them be.
do payday, or do you want us?
Or do you need,
We'll be okay. We'll be just fine.
as we could do the payday portion, and then the rest of the administrative.
Do later. Okay.
That way you can get the payday roll.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Should we wait for Randy?
No, go ahead without it.
Okay, commission has seen the payday reports. Is there a motion to pay the Elcon?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to pay Elcon
Second.
$230.
237.61.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Crowfoot, second Commissioner Becker to pay the Elcon in the amount of $237.61. Discussion? Abstain. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. We have one abstention, so we'll go 3. Western Associates.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Question about that one.
Okay, question?
What was all those t-shirts?
For the festival, the Bluegrass Festival.
What did we give out?
Well, they sold it.
Sold them? Kind of nice to know that.
Somebody goes back
What in the
into-
world are we doing?
Yeah.
Everybody got a t-shirt, came to Lincoln that weekend. They had a great crowd and they sold them.
Did they sell them for cost or? they make a
No,
little-
they make $5 a shirt.
And you gotta, if you don't sell all of them, you wanna make sure you got those cushions.
It's kind of a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I've made the motion.
Motion from Commissioner Garing to approve Western Associates bill of amount of $994.15. Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay.
I stayed.
4 in favor, 1 abstention. Total payday. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Garing made the motion to approve payday in the amount of $1,130,152.51. Second by Commissioner Dahlke. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Motion carried. 5-0.
here's the comp time report, I don't know if you've looked at that yet.
Okay, I think we'll leave the rest of the administrative items until later in the meeting. That way we can keep on schedule. We'll bring in Chuck.
Yep, gotcha.
We're ready. Hi, Chuck.
Morning.
Welcome.
So I just want to give you a little update today about how our staffing levels and where we're all at and
Good.
everything. We're one paramedic away from being at minimum staff, so we need to hire one so we can have no overtime paid out. I know several weeks ago I spoke to you guys about doing a schedule change. I do have a list of people that are on duty, that are not, I should say on duty, that are employed, that I have 7 that want to do that. I have 3 that could care less otherwise. Of those 3, one of them's more, he was planning on leaving at the end of September. He said, I want to stay on and see how, if we do go to 4896, how that looks. And then I have one individual who is a no. I have one individual of the yeses that has rescinded his resignation in anticipation of us possibly going to 4896. I just would like some guidance. I know I spoke to you a while back. I talked with Tina. There's some, she may mention the possibility of waiting until a full-time director to make this decision. So
I just said he should ask the board because you might prefer that it be made by the, not an interim one. So that's why I bring it back.
Sounds like everybody's kind of in favor of it except for one.
And we can go in, if we need to go in your executive session to speak about the one person, we can, if you like. That's your decision.
No,
It's yours.
the, so you're saying you're gonna be back full staff?
Minimum staffing. So that's a paramedic on each truck and either an AEMT or an EMT on each truck. I just need to get one more paramedic hired and then that will do that. Right now with Travis, technically we are at minimum staffing, but he's planning on leaving sometime at the end of September.
Right.
So that's what I need to get his position filled.
Sounds like making this move might help fill positions.
That is mine. That's what that's what I'm hoping. I mean, because we've had an open paramedic position off and on for almost a year now, with one applicant. The earlier position we had filled, we did some self-recruiting and hired a nurse on from Gossel First Response. So that position we never got an applicant for. So I would like to try this and see if, since we have so many people that are on board for it, just to use that, it's not going to cost the county anything. It's just rotating days around. It's not going to affect overtime. Just to try to do it as a recruitment tool.
What about, is there any flexibility at all to, you know, you do this over here, can you do something
Split
else over there?
station, try to do a 4896
I mean,
and
just
24. I understand where you're.
Maybe you can recruit people and you can recruit other people, so you've got both options available.
The only thing is, those, we got so many people that want to do it, it would make, if we did a split station where one station was a different schedule than the other, they might cause some animosity. But people that want to do the 4896, they have to go do this because that's where we need them.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
got 90% that wants it, so that's a tail wagging the dog, and you let the dog be in charge.
What's the bottom line though? What does it cost us?
Nothing.
Nothing?
So it's just swapping, it's just a
Mhm.
different.
Okay,
You work
so,
2 days, it saves them gas driving back and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna save the employee wear and tear and fuel and that kind of.
what happens if you do it with the interim director and say this is 6-month trial or something? I'm just throwing options out there, whether you wanna do it or not, Wayne.
Would it be the new director's,
That would be
he
his
can
decision.
change it if he wants to,
Mhm.
because he's in charge.
Well, it's,
I mean, we're not micromanaging what he thinks, he just gives
I'm
permission.
just trying to keep the options open if we think we need to. Maybe we don't need to, I'm just
And
saying.
if it doesn't work, he
Yeah.
can come back.
At this point, though, it appears that it's kind of a draw.
It might be.
Because you get somebody from
Meaning
Wichita,
employees.
maybe come work.
That's my thought
One shift
process,
a
is that
week
we're
or
gonna try to
something.
recruit from people that live further away. Granted, they're not gonna probably relocate to Marion County, and
That's what
that's
I
just
mean.
something we
We've
have
got a
to.
better
get
chance of
over.
pulling people in from
Yeah.
surrounding areas.
It makes
That's the way it sounds,
one
yes.
long distance trip. And then, rather than two.
And then, in my mind, the worst case scenario is we try it for 6 months, and then if we find out this does not work, go back to what we
And I think
been
that
doing.
answers your, it's not written in stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows this. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
And it may be with the employee makeup will shift over a year or 2 years.
If what Kent said, like 6 months down the road, and we've got 3 more people employed, we've done something.
It worked.
That's what I mean, it appears, it's an employment attraction.
You may lose one, but if you gain 3, well,
Yeah.
Right.
so it may be an attraction. I'm not gonna argue either way for it, just,
Well, we know we have to pull in from
Yeah.
more than Marion County.
Yeah.
so
And right now, we do have
we
one
need
person that's
that-
driving from
We need
Polk,
that option.
From Holden,
north of Topeka.
wow.
yeah, he'd be right.
And, yeah, he'd be saving about $600 a month in fuel.
Well, we're in crisis mode. I think you've come up with a option that is helping resolve the crisis. From what I'm gathering from the commission, I think commission's consensus would be for you to proceed
Okay.
implementing the new schedule.
Okay.
Implement as soon as possible.
Well, I
As
was.
soon as it works.
It's
I would,
transition.
yeah, I would like to give the people, probably 45 to 60 days to change get used to the schedule before it takes full effect.
Would it change what you need on a start of a 21st or so like
It's,
that?
yeah, let's start it on the beginning of a pay period, because we're gonna have to do
Okay,
different
I can do
setup
that.
again on my system.
Work with Tina.
Okay, I can
Because
share.
we're gonna have, it may not be that much different, there may not have to.
But it still wouldn't hurt.
But starting out on the
Start on-
21st of a month would be good, 21st.
I'll say 21st of October. That
Or
should
even
give them.
September or something.
Well, I'd like to give the guys some.
Okay, so October 21st.
Yep.
Very good.
Give you a target.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm not sure if you've checked your emails. We did get a reply. I just forwarded you guys Brad's.
I'm sorry.
Let's do the executive session.
Okay.
Okay. I move that we recess to executive session in order to discuss potential litigation.
Well, you can't discuss
Oh,
litigation
the
without your
attorney's not
attorney
here.
present.
Uh,
So you could, if it's a subject that has to do with patient confidentiality
that
or
would
something
apply.
like that,
Yeah.
you could, or if it's a personnel matter, you
I
can go
was
in, but you
I
can't
was
go
named in
in.
it.
But you can't go in it
That's
without
true,
the
you're
attorney,
true.
so you might wanna delay it if it's a litigated matter.
Well, I think we could still get information from Chuck. Let's do
Under personnel, okay,
Because I think there's another issue we could talk about under personnel.
so that would be personnel performance.
Yes. I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance, with Commission Chuck Tina for 10 minutes from 10:08 to 10:18.
Second.
Got a second from Commissioner Garing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 10.
So you
Okay,
emailed
just
it,
a moment here, let me get everything turned on.
you emailed it this morning?
Just a moment.
Yeah, just come in.
Yeah. I just
Excuse-
forwarded.
Fix it.
Okay.
and see what it does. And then I just got Charles. You've got this letter.
All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made.
This conference will now be recorded.
Other issues, Jeff?
No,
Who's it for?
not at this moment.
All right, we'll see if
Do you have an ETA of when Brad would be?
I'll text you if that work.
Yeah, that'll be mine.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I got. But there's nothing, please see the letter, but everything to see.
What else to do? Mute microphones. This is the letter.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
It's all right.
There's 4 or 5 pages.
Oh, it is?
Yes, 4 or 5 pages.
You and I can do very good technical. So that's, it's just basic rule.
Do we have time to approve the minutes while we
Sure.
wait for Bryce for a second?
Make a motion to approve August 26 minutes.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gehring to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried, minutes are approved.
Aye.
Aye vote.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes
Ah,
not
there he is.
strips attachments away from.
Chuck said they were having another one.
Well, when Brad comes on.
Okay, I just said another one, he said, yeah, so that's why. Huh, okay,
Yep, when Brad comes online.
gotcha. All right, first thing is approval of area fuel bids. EPS 1, 1, and 3, MFA is 2, that's my recommendation.
EPS is 2.
No, EPS is 1 and 3, MFA is 2. Okay. Rather close.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to go with Bryce's recommendation.
Commissioner Gehring made a motion to approve the recommendation. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
All right. The 2 projects for the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program were submitted yesterday. I submitted the off-system bridge for Pawnee this morning. I did find out there is no county match required. So we had planned on $140,000 to put towards that, and there is no county match. We will still have to pay for the design and stuff like that, but there is no county match for that, so that's a good thing. I think I sent you the email yesterday on 290th, the questions involved from there. Do you guys have any questions, or I guess what do you, I wish I had a straightforward answer. You know, if we rebuild the road, that'll take care of a lot of things, but if we don't widen out the structures, then are we gonna cause problems? One accident out there would basically could be millions of dollars, especially on that 20-foot wide. So if we turn around and do the structures first, at least we would have that. We could still continue to work on the roadway, but obviously, you know, those structures are gonna be more important. And you know, I do feel good that Kenny, obviously they've been involved in our program for lots and lots of years. He said, you know, really, he said, especially our on-system bridges, you know, on our paved roads, he said, for the most part, are in good shape. It's the off-system ones that, and he said that's not unusual for every county to be that way too. So
would we be applying for cost share on each structure? Or
well,
as a
what
package?
I would do is like to put them together as a package, simply because we will get a lot better prices from contractors if we put all those together. But it does mean obviously an extra money investment at the time. Every one of these projects has to go through the same process of, you know, getting designed and let and everything else, where if we put them all together, basically make a corridor project out of it. I think that's the way to go. I think KDOT would be more favorable at that as well. So, like I said, I wish I knew the crystal ball answer or whatever else for that. So, now I will tell you that, you know, the stuff that Kenny put on there, I think is, you know, and he did what would be common practice. Things are inflated simply because it may be 2-3 years down the road before these get through the process and everything else. I really think that we could get them done less than that. But again, you'd rather err on the side of caution and be higher than, so. But you know, we're just at that point where that 28 foot, you know, with the concrete rails up there, it's exactly what we're facing on the Pawnee Bridge, where it's only, what was it, 19 or almost 20 feet. You look at those rails, and then how many times have they been hit, and you know, that's on a curve, it's on a rock road, slower traffic, but yet they're still getting hit. Well, now if you take the higher speed traffic and hit these rails, you know, so I don't know, I'm definitely open to questions or comments or whatever you guys think.
When is the deadline on the bridge?
The cost share, the two bridges were this Friday, and I've got all them taken care of.
Yep.
This would be under the cost share, which would be the 15th of September.
Okay.
So we got a little bit of time to think about that, if that's what you want to do. And the only other thing would be the economic development, and I think that's ready to go in as well.
Right.
So
I guess economic development is their commission census to proceed with that one.
And that was the one that would be from just east of Remington over to 77. Not hardly anything to extend, maybe a couple of culverts. We have that box culvert down west of Vista that we could either include in the cost share or just do it under this project. It's not a real big structure, so I think we'd be good shape to do that one as well. So I have talked to the city of Lincolnville. You know, they're obviously interested in doing whatever they can through town. They don't have any money really to help as well. But it is what it is. So, you know, again, it's and I did check on the economic development. I asked her about money for next year and really no commitment. She said, well, we'll have to see the next year. And so, but I did get confirmation on the high-risk rural roads. There will be another program this fall or early winter. So that would pick up that west several miles on that as well. So.
Well, that's got to be our strategy at this point, is to piecemeal them together.
Well, I don't know what else to do. They're forcing us into that.
Yes.
Because, I mean, again, we've said everybody wants money. They've got a lot more money to offer, but yet they're getting more and more people that are
more applications.
Yep. So.
And then we'd have to determine what percentage we want to put in the bid process?
Well, yeah, I mean, on the cost share, right now, we had $1.5 million max from KDOT. So on that project that we were looking to put there from Mustang to Remington, including those structures, we'd have to pay $1.75 million, they would pay the 1.5. Now, if we went back and did the cost share for those structures and used the $400,000, excuse me, the $4 million, the problem with that is they still only have $1.5 million max. So now do we turn around and do, say, the two largest ones, you know, the two big bridges at Pawnee and Nighthawk?
Well, those would be the highest risk.
Yes.
I mean, that's, we've got to focus.
Well, and not only for width of road and everything else, but
Yes.
those also are very, very prone to flooding.
Mhm.
So if we could, you know, take care of that too. You know, you look at especially the one at Nighthawk, you know, with the produce and stuff like that. Flooding there could be quite a thing privately to them as well. You know, so if we could do something to change that, but like I said, it's one of those things where you've got all these objects up here. What do you want to throw the dart at? And I wish it wasn't as difficult when we were in a better situation, but it's just, you know, these things have been built for 80 to 100 years, and
But there's still a good structural bridge.
For the most part, yes. I mean, it's like the one, other than being too narrow, I mean, they're all in great shape, but it's just, structurally, yeah, they're in great shape, but yet they're, functionally obsolete. The fact is, they're not wide enough for today's traffic, and, lawyers, whatever else, don't really care about that. My driver hits your bridge, therefore it's your problem, so. So, like I said, it's just something to think about. I mean, we could even wait till next week. I've got till the 15th to put those
Well,
in.
if we can get a decision today so you can move forward, is there opposition to Bryce's strategy or plan?
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, like he said, there's so many moving parts to put in the pieces.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start, and this is option one, piecemealing it together, and then option two is if we fail on this one, then next year we go to legislative route.
You can put both bridges together as one project.
Those two, 460, 450 and 460. So 450 and 460 would run us about 1.8 million. I could actually add, maybe go into that 480 as well. That would put us up over the 2 million mark. So we could still get the maximum of, try to get as much as that 150 or 1.5 million that we can.
Right, and that's just maximize out the shares.
Yeah.
To maximize the amount.
Yes, and that would be the three, I would say the three most critical ones that we would have. The two bigger structures, and then if we're going to continue, if we do get the economic development going into town, that would be that structure as well.
Good.
So that would basically get us structure-wise taken care of from Nighthawk over to 77. So I can kind of work those numbers up, and based on what we have here, and again, I'm fairly confident we can do less than this, but you just never know, because if we don't get it and don't plan high enough, then we have to turn around and fork a lot more money into it too, so. But, so.
Okay. So the bridges, you'll put that together?
Yep.
And then on the economic development, we're good to go? Bryce can turn it in? Okay, commission consensus to proceed on the economic development.
And I'll put the same letters and stuff with it too.
Yep, good.
And Kenny did say he looked at our bridge submittals, he thought it was good submittals as well.
Okay.
So he was confident, that, well, as confident I be.
But appreciate him reviewing it.
Well, I've worked with Kenny for lots and lots of years, and I've always really valued his opinion, and he basically concluded the same thing I did. So it's always nice to get the second opinion.
Right.
So, okay, little update on the road situation. We finished sealing yesterday, all of our chip seals, so we're done with 90th, 120th, and 150th. So those are done. We'll get them striped probably the end of this month. They're getting ready to start on the driveways and entrances on Indigo. Try to get on them. We got to change the oil in our distributor back to our regular oil. A lot less expensive to use for that. So plan is to hit 140th next week. Get contract haulers and everything else to get it bladed and rock back. Get going on that. Well, obviously we'll have to go back and start on blade patching after that. We've got, like I said, basically every road we've got has some work to be done on it. And then finally, talked with the contractor yesterday. They brought in, started bringing in rock for 190th this morning. They are still planning to start next week, assuming that they can get the rock hauled, or to brought in, because it's coming all the way from Baxter Springs. So they're facing the same situation. And I found out that what he's saying, that the trucking problem is, the fact is the fuel is so high that the guys basically said that it is, in order to try to work, they don't want to lose any money, so they're just parking their trucks, going on unemployment, and they're writing off the loss by the end of the year. And it's just like, wow, I mean, you think like you want to try to, but they talked about upping the rates, and they said, if we up our rates, the problem is once the rates go up, they never come back. So now it faces that, that down the road as well. But yeah, he said they work with a company out of Wichita that has like 250 trucks, and they have a contract, and they had a contract several months ago when they bid it. So depending on what happens with the fuel, that could affect them as well. So, but anyway, that's the plan. So, I'm trying to think, that's pretty much it.
Gravel.
Oh, yes, good call. I had those bids come in Friday, looked at them Monday, basically I gave approval, jail unroom, got all 11 sections. We did not do section 8 because we didn't have a blade man out there. We'll work that in on our own. I wanted it done by November 1st. They are working on a plan to try to get that done. They're probably going to have to turn around and maybe subcontract out with others, whatever the case may be. But that's what come in, and I thought the bids come in exceptionally well. I was impressed. We had 3 people that bid it. One of them chose not to. The other bidders were Robinson as well as Mid-States Compost that have hauled for us across the county. So anyway, that's the plan. But they have. I was very impressed. They've called every section man, set up a plan with them, and they're going to start at section 1 at the top and just go right on down the list. And the quarry, they put the order in with the quarry. The quarry's well aware of it. So I think we've got a very good start to getting that done. So we just hope that everything works out till we can get it all hauled by the end of the year. So.
Very good.
So, I think that's it as far as what I had, unless you guys have anything else or whatever else. So I will follow up on that that cost of metal thing, just to let you know where it's at. So we try to work on it.
A lot of grant applications going in on cost share.
Well, what it's free money.
It's not
free money. Yeah, it's prepaid money. But it's
Just trying to get some of your money back.
Yeah.
well, yes, there you go.
That is exactly
But
right.
if we don't submit anything, we don't.
You don't get it.
So, but I think, I like to say I had a good working relationship with the local projects and those people up there that they understand, where we're coming from, and we've got a lot of needs, but they sent me an application for economic development, and she responded back. She said, "Let me know if I can get you anything else." And I said, $2 million, and she just
Very good.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let me text Chuck.
Like he does.
So are you going to go ahead and move up the county councilor in front of the storage discussion?
I think so. Is that all right with the commission? Yeah. Have the executive sessions, county councilor, since he's online. Yep.
The road vacation information, I don't believe was closed session when I checked.
Okay. Brad, if you could unmute your mic, join us.
Can you hear me okay?
There we go. Yes.
Okay. Had the chance since the previous Monday to go through that, take a look at everything, and also to talk with Sharon. And I think we reached an agreement on what I thought might be a compromise type of recommendation. Commissioner Dahlke had mentioned his concerns about, vacating that entirely, given the potential for future need, et cetera, and I understand that completely. So what I did was look at what they'd done and how that had been allowed to lapse. And so at this point, what she and I discussed was we're going ahead and vacating the surface on the right-of-way and reinvigorating or reconstituting the 50-foot wide easement so that it would run as the full width of that distance. The property is not landlocked, so the right-of-way going through there is not quite as critical. But in talking with several of the utility companies that I end up dealing with regularly, they always kind of have the same position. The more we can get within reason, the better. because we never know exactly where we might have to put something, how we might have to lay it in. And if we don't have to worry about structures or other issues, then it makes our life significantly better in perpetuity. So the thought there would be the property owners would maintain it. Obviously, they would have the distance, 1/2 of the total distance to a midpoint. They would have to survey that for themselves in terms of pinning it. But anything subsurface, we would go ahead and restore, and I would have them sign off as well. The easement for all purposes, so that we had a complete right to use that width as it was properly laid out initially, for any kind of installation, ingress, egress, for our purposes throughout. You can also, it is permanent, but it's not, to the extent that if we ever found that had to go through, you can go back and utilize eminent domain. That's obviously not as handy as owning it as it currently sits, because we have to potentially pay for something we've given up to get it back. But it's not without that possibility if it were ever needed for some reason that we don't foresee or the planning and zoning doesn't foresee right now. And in the course of doing this, we would regain something that in essence has lapsed and been lost, which is that easement. What we're reserving right now basically is nothing, because it was allowed to lapse at an earlier time frame and not renewed. So this would put it back in place as I think it probably should be, because that's the one thing that you could find need for in the future, depending upon where you need to tap in and what kind of trunk lines or other things you need to put in for future use on the property beyond it. So that's our thought. I'm certainly interested in the commission comments. The thought would be she and I would try to put that together for next Monday's meeting, if that was something that we had consensus on as being marginally agreeable. And if it's not, we'll revisit it again.
Okay, Commissioner Dalby, does that address the concern?
Yeah, it does. I just understanding that there's something there already, and I don't think we ought to have the right to make them move it. I mean, this was on the original plot. They did what they were supposed to, put it where it was supposed to be and everything. And I think we need to sort of honor that from 60 years or 40 years ago, however many years, 60 years ago, however many it was. So, yeah, I thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
And then that would still maintain the 10-foot right of way on the surface, right?
It would not. The way it is right now, we would be giving the complete surface. We don't have to do that. We can go ahead and take it down to that 10 feet on a right-of-way surface. But, you know, if you look at it, and most of you have been through that in different settings before, 10 feet is probably below minimum threshold. Yeah, you can put a little rock road in there, but for public use and the kinds of needs that you'd have, you'd probably want it to be wider. And so I was thinking, you know, it was more along the lines of let's get back what we really should have, which is the easement, and just take it for the entire 50 feet. So that if anything ever had to be serviced, moved, changed, reinstalled, newly installed, there's ample space. And it keeps anything from being built on it, so that in the future, if you did ever have to reclaim it by way of eminent domain, we don't have the issue of a structure being on there that we'd have to contend with. So that was the kind of the marriage of different interests at this point. And I made sure that I checked with Sharon. When I looked at the maps, it appeared correct, and she reconfirmed that the property beyond it there is not landlocked, and actually in many ways it would be a superior approach to come in from another direction to access that land. But I just didn't want to lose the easement. And given that part of that is lapsed already, and we'd have to either assert a prescriptive easement or get it restored, I'd really rather do that all right now and then have it that maximum width, because it serves several purposes.
I believe that, I don't know what's going to happen 50 years from now, and there may be a new way to put a gas line in, there may be a new way to put an electric line or a sewer line in, whatever. And if that easement's through there, then when they plan just take for fiber optics. I mean, when 35 years ago, there wasn't no fiber optics when I started for the company. So things like that's all changed the world, and those easements are there for a reason. So I appreciate the 50-foot easement for whatever may happen in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I hate to lose. Statutorily, it should have been maintained in a little bit more firm form than it is right now anyway. And to restore it this way solves that problem for us and addresses it. It lets them go ahead and have a stake in maintaining it, but not be able to construct on that 50 feet, assuming that we know that someone's doing that.
Yeah.
When they do it. And so it solves several problems for us. And if they were landlocked, I'd have a real problem with even doing that. But it's not. That closes off one access point surface-wise, but not others.
Okay, any commission opposition to having Brad and Sharon proceed in presenting a proposal, and that'll be Tuesday next week, Brad? Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Getting commission consensus to proceed.
Yes.
Okay, Brad, we're gonna shift to an executive session.
Okay.
I don't know if we need to call in.
Well, I can sit. I have a,
Yeah, the other link.
yeah,
Okay.
he
I'll-
can get on
I'll
virtual.
go ahead with the motion and then we'll get it set up. I move that we recess to exec. What?
My question here is, did we note that, Tina, somewhere, since this is an end of the month though, and we do have those institutionalized. I just was concerned if we labeled this as a special.
It's
We know
just,
the road vacation.
it's not labeled as a special meeting. And you do have your time on here, so I guess that's up to
Okay.
you.
No,
I
that's
also have
fine.
administrative on here, so.
Yeah, and that's fine, as long as, I just didn't want to stub my toe here somewhere on something that we hadn't checked. But that, as long as it's not labeled as a special, we're fine.
Okay, I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 2, consultation with our attorney-client privilege with the commission, Chuck, Tina, and Brad for 15 minutes, 10:46 to 11:01.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 11:01.
The weekend,
That's what I did, man. I worked all weekend.
you can't come back every Monday, but I have to do it with those.
This conference will now be recorded.
We are out of executive session. No decision made. Do we have any more administrative items?
Yes.
Okay, let's wrap that up and then get this to discussion.
So this morning, actually, I was handed a special events application. There is a citizen that wants to have a Labor Day celebration at their property, and they want to shoot off fireworks. And so they did fill out the special events application. It shows the location of where they want to do the fireworks near their house, which is north of East Shore, their homeowners insurance. They do have access to water because it's at the house. The sheriff looked at it when he was here and he didn't have any issues. They did not submit the $50 application fee, so either way, the board needs to take action whether to approve the event or not, and then also whether or not to waive the fee.
Discussion? I mean, what's been the commission's process in the past?
Just make sure that the fire department's well aware of it.
So if this is approved, I'll send it to the sheriff and he would notify
Okay.
the fire agency.
911 would know about it.
Yeah.
Somebody
We had a
calls
little
in.
bit of rain, but not enough.
And the area that they want to do the fireworks is circled on that.
This is within,
Next page.
It's out in the country.
so it's within, it's less than a quarter mile, probably eighth of a mile from residential area.
Is it on East Shore?
It's
North.
north.
North East Shore.
First house?
Yeah.
The gathering would be, from my understanding, 20, 25 people at the most. It would be a big group.
Try to just make sure that cross the T's and dot the I's.
And then what about the application fee?
Oh, yeah, just hold them to it.
Okay. So, is that a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Gehring made motion to approve the application for a special event. Do you need to give the address? Okay, Commissioner Dalkey, what's the address?
2156 Pawnee.
2156 Pawnee for Labor Day.
It's,
What's the date?
Yes, Labor Day celebration, date time 9/3/22.
Okay, that's September 3rd.
Saturday.
9/3.
That they are also
Labor
required
Day
to pay a
weekend.
$50 application fee.
Yeah.
That's your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Just a discussion a little bit. What about high wind situation?
That's why I was alluding to the residential area.
Do you want to put a condition in your?
And we don't know what kind of fireworks they're shooting. I mean, they're shooting big aerials.
Yeah, yeah.
Because 911 always gives you whether or not you can burn.
Yeah. It would be.
I mean, if it meets burning standards, it
Yeah.
should meet fireworks standards, right?
I don't know how that works, but I would guess it's probably.
I would think so, as long as emergency.
You need to check with 911 that morning to see.
Would you put that in your motion?
That might be.
Yeah, I'll amend the motion to have that make sure that it's,
911 approves of other conditions. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, give a second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Further discussion? Good question.
Nice to ask.
Yeah.
Said just do it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried by vote.
Yeah, appreciate people taking time to turn that in. And
to actually go through the
Yeah.
process,
Yes.
not just wait for the cops to show up.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to hide.
They've been done during the cops go.
I think that was all I had
Okay.
for
Thank you.
administrative. Yeah.
Thank you, Tina. Finally, back to storage discussion. Commissioner Dalkey.
Is this about Jeff? When I talked with Jeff? Is that what you're referring to?
I didn't put it on the
I didn't
agenda.
either.
This was just a
It
carryover
has been
from.
carrying
Carryover,
Like,
okay.
we keep
Okay.
moving it because we're like, well, let's talk
Okay.
about it next week.
Okay, all right, this is the carryover. Now, well, I'm on board with you now, but I did talk to Jeff last week, and Jeff, the sheriff, he was referring to the new building over there, and he said, he wants to have a secure from clear from over here on the north side of the building, clear around to the south side, and then we'll have to go around the little brown shack, and then go around stay on our property back to the fence over there.
Basically fence all the jail property.
Yeah, fence all the jail properties, what it comes down to, if we go ahead and put the building up. He said, all I'm looking for is a roof over for some spaces to store. And so in that plan that I've got, we left 50 foot on the south end for future development. I just thought after Jeff and I talked, maybe bring it back to the board that we just put a roof over that and open sidewalls, or maybe 2 sidewalls, whichever, and go ahead when we're building the building, take care of the whole place, and have that secure area of 50 foot by 80 foot for all these open trailers that's sitting over here beside the jail and whatever Jeff was. He said that would take care of his area, so he was happy with that, knowing that we all still had a walk-through or a drive-through intersection that could be driven through the whole building. So it's just a matter of storage there. Then the next thing is what we decide on storage, to how much we build for storage of what it was originally designed for, was the courthouse papers and that kind of thing. So, but he said, why move it? And that might have not been Jeff. Somebody discussed this with me. Why move it twice? We was thinking of moving it over here to the planning and zoning office,
yeah.
and moving it over there. If we move forward with the building, let's move it once and don't move it twice. So that's really just where we're at right now, is just deciding whether we move ahead, get a building designed, and take a look at the cost. If we don't, I guess we could close it down if we don't like the bids when they come in. But leave not even a cement floor in the last 50 foot down there, just put a roof over the top of it, use it for storage, open storage.
Like the county has for their trucks?
Yeah, like county has for their trucks if you wanted to. You could do it with a floor, you can do it, that's costs, whatever you do is cost, and so, I prefer leaving it open, I think, because what happens if you decide to take that storage then later on down the line and make something, space for the courthouse or something, and that way you got your sewer, you got your electric, you put it all underground like you're supposed to, because if you put cement in, it's got the cement.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cleaner, but I don't know that, I wouldn't want to spend it, I don't think, if I was personally doing it. I would wait till I knew that I had a certain plan for that area to go ahead with, so that covers the storage as I know of right now, but I just really want to get to the point where we decide to make the motion, use that money, use some of it, maybe not all of it, see what else we can come up with.
Come up with some rough estimates?
Yeah.
Well, in connection with that, Krista will be bringing numbers on the 12th.
Okay.
And in fact, Cody Nelson will be with her.
Okay.
So then we'll have hard numbers to look at.
Okay.
On the public health building. And unfortunately, they're much higher than we anticipated. So there's gonna be some decisions to be made there. So I guess that the storage building keeps evolving, and I guess I like this new plan of open storage for the trailers, and maybe we scale back the project at this point, maybe focus on the storage of trailers and for the sheriff's department, since his plan is to fence that in. The document storage, we got a long ways to go to know what we're gonna do there, but at least leave space.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be running into a number of issues. First off is our employees. We're gonna have to look at spending some money on working on our pay plan and addressing needs there that might cut into some of our building projects. If we're gonna keep good people, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, the building projects are earmarked through the ARPA funds.
Sure.
So we
sure.
want to make sure we don't conflict.
You've got a good point there. But we've got a couple of different projects going there. But I'm glad you got to talk to the sheriff and got some good information there. That'll go into.
I thought it was a good plan from him to suggest the security fence, so it's all secure
Yes.
and all
Yes.
that.
He probably needs some for all the cars he keeps.
Well, different
He's got
things.
for the people's property he repossesses.
You pull it in and there, you can pull it in there, it's under lock, key, camera, you can do everything to it, so.
Any other comments?
Well, I'm just thinking out loud. Of all of the stuff we've got stored up there in the attic, is there still quite a bit up there that we need to have on site that people can get to quickly?
I think that there's a lot of
Yes.
things that can be gotten rid of.
First off, there's a lot of things that can go
There's
away.
also, trying to find time for people while they're
Yes.
working to go and do that is difficult.
Especially
And
when
plus,
it's short-staffed.
with weather and personally for me with dust, I have an issue with my breathing being up there too long, but there's no heat or air up there, so it's you need to pick a day that it's not like sweltering or freezing. But, if we are able to potentially rearrange some of the offices and move someone to across the street, once we have that available.
Right.
Possibly, we might be able to reconfigure some space we already have with some different type of filing to be able to meet some of our needs. And I would say it would probably be preferable, since you asked, it might be preferable to not be in the same building with all the equipment and, for document storage, just move forward with an equipment building and then figure out a different solution for the documents, potentially.
Documents could go into equipment storage building through comments. Seriously, I mean, we lock it down.
Yeah.
and it would be double secure.
You know, the cheapest rental in the state is salt mine.
Well, and I thought that's where you were going, that there certainly
Oh,
could be.
there are some things that could potentially.
Definitely could go there. Yeah, and agree, and again, it'd
And
be
you know,
cheaper
that would,
than.
you'd have to work with a company
Sure.
to do that for you.
Right.
You couldn't just say, well, we'll load pickups up, take it salt mine.
Right.
But I think the bottom line to all of this is something that nobody's talking about is, when this first started, there was a whole lot of weight up there, and they've done a whole lot of throw away stuff already, and the weight up there is what we need to get out of there.
Yeah, it's heavy.
To get that somewhere else to where we don't have a problem someday.
But there's a lot of stuff up there too that I'm wondering if maybe the board would want to have somebody come in and do a sale or.
Yeah.
And that's where we were about a
Sales
year
some-
ago.
some
and
items.
It's a matter of somebody has to be there,
Background check,
and
so-
the time commitment to be with them.
Yeah, the Bill's background thing. I mean, jeez, I can't believe how many vehicles show up over there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, and they've been loading stuff for people and taking it over there.
Yeah, they've been moving it all.
Yeah, so I mean, we got a resource if we wanted to use it.
Right. How about we take this up again after election? Would that, I mean.
Which
Yeah, I
election?
mean, it's
No.
fine.
Yeah, I know, then you
Or
still
if
move
you-
right into something
like,
else.
When, you
The
know,
next
or
election.
if we start in October for a little bit and then
Okay.
after. I mean,
Because a lot of this is gonna fall on you. I mean, you know what's up there. Well, Rebecca, I would think. But again, all the equipment that's up there, somebody has to.
well,
go
there are
through
some
it.
old things that are kind of historic to the building and, you know, but if we had, I still think it'd be, yeah.
So now we need another building for county museum.
You know,